Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Pokemon Paparazzi. Let's go back to this beach.
Beach party!
I don't know why, but like that opening camera shot makes me think of Far Cry 1. I really don't know why.
I want to get another good picture of Lapras, and I want to get a good picture of this Pikachu on the surfboard.
Remember when Pikachu had hobbies?
Like eating ketchup and apples.
And surfing and flying on balloons?
Right? Speaking of which...
Remember when Pikachu didn't just get really lame and skinny, and he was just a fat kid having fun?
Remember when that's what Pokemon was all about?
No. My first real gen was Gen 3, so no.
Oh, really? Dude, I remember...
Well, that's the first one I owned. I played through Gen 2.
I remember in like third
Really
grade, the teacher taking our Pokemon cards because we weren't allowed to have them in school anymore. Kids were getting bullied with them or whatever.
That reminds me of like shitty I did as a kid. So similar thing, like a bunch of us brought Pokemon cards to school. And we were looking through them at the bus. Like we were just like literally looking through each other's cards like, oh, that's cool. Like, hey, that's cool. Where'd you get that? I'm like, oh, I got that at Target, whatever. And the bus driver's like, are those Pokemon cards? And she stopped the fucking bus and like took them away from us and put them all in one bag.
Yep, sounds about right.
And the principal came because my mom called and bitched of like, hey, it's fine. Like, he's not supposed to have them out on the bus, whatever. Don't mix them all up and refuse to give them back. That shit costs money. And he wasn't doing shit. They were literally looking through them. So the principal came on the bus the next day and was like, I think all the parents actually bitched. Not just my mom. Like, I think it was literally all three of us. All three of our moms like, what the fuck?
I mean, I don't blame them. I'd have bitched too if it was my kid.
So the principal came on the bus and had the bag, and then it was like my class got out early, and I was like, these three were on the bus with some other kids, and they're like, all right, pick out which ones are yours and take them home. Like, we're gonna check with your parents. And they didn't remember what they had, so I just said all the rare and cool shit was mine.
I say Meowth.
There was literally like,
Ran out of film.
that's okay.
Remember when film
There was
cameras were a
literally
thing?
like one kid I made so he only got like first stage Pokemon and like energies.
Wow.
In retrospect, fuck that kid though. He was a piece of shit.
Big in this one.
I was a funny kid. There was another time where I was at daycare, and everyone goes through their klepto phase when they're a kid, right?
Right.
I was in my klepto phase. I was like probably like 5 or 6. And most of the time I wouldn't even take it home. I would just put it somewhere so the person didn't have it if they're like being mean or whatever. And this is one time like they set like these kids set up like a bait and switch for me of like I was gonna take it and then they're gonna like look in my cubby and shit while I'm not there and try to like get me in trouble. So they did that. And they told the teacher, but while they were getting the teacher, I just put it back and sat down.
Funny.
The teacher's like, what are you talking about? Like, he's not doing anything. Well, there was one time I stole from a kid and my dog's like 5. And he's like, that's mine. And I'm like, no, it's not. And he's like, it has my name on it. I'm like, no, I wrote that. I just can't spell my own name.
Well done.
I think like the most expensive thing I stole when I was 5 was like either some Yu-Gi-Oh cards or like a GBA shovelware game. Like battle bots or something, you know? To be fair, I had shit stolen from me all the time too.
Well done.
I
Dude.
feel like we all. I remember playing Pokemon with my best friends at their house, and like I grew up not having neighbors. He had an
Yeah, you
next-door
live in the
neighbor.
boonies.
Yeah, he had a next door neighbor, and it was a kid that we went to school with and all that. And we were playing Pokemon or whatever, and this kid came over, and blah, 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 we went outside and like played basketball or some shit. He had to go inside and use the bathroom. The neighbor kid, like, all right, whatever. Didn't think much about it. Time goes by. We go upstairs and like a bunch of our Pokemon cards were missing. And I remember my friend's mom going next door and like talking to the other kid's mom about it and making him give all the cards back.
Jesus. I remember daycare was lit as fuck because we all had Game Boy Advances or SPs, and we would always like the first 2 hours of the day would literally be like you'd go through everybody being like, what'd you get new in like Pokemon Ruby today, or like that kind of shit, like trading and stuff and battling. And the daycare teacher ahead of time was so chill, he did it too.
Well, that was like one of the best things about Pokemon back in the day, was like trying to find out all the random shit and talking to your friends about it the next day.
Yeah, it was fucking awesome. Like, oh, that was so cool. And like, my teacher got into it, and like, I remember his favorite Pokemon was Politoed, but he didn't have the item for it because he already used it. And I traded to him for like, I think like a starter or something. And the fact I could just be like, oh, he just wants another one of these, I can give him that, and he can give me something I need. Where now it's just like, cool. Let me look it up on GameSpot of where I have to grind to get this one Pokemon and shit.
Facts real quick and see where this thing lives. Oh, it only comes out once at night at exactly 3 a.m.
Yeah, or like Brian, Lodge member Brian, he got a shiny Rockruff in Violet.
Yeah.
Pokemon Violet. But it had the ability where it could only become the Dusk one.
Really?
I don't know if you know about that.
No.
Yeah, Rockruff, one of Rockruff's rare abilities is, I don't remember what it's called, but it literally makes it so the only form it can be is Dusk form. And Brian then later learned that that was like the rarest Rockruff you could get, even for a shiny. So he was happy, but he was telling me like he had to look it up, and it's like, oh, it has to be like at dusk in Spain time because this game takes place in Spain. And it's like, no, it has to be dusk in real world. And it's like, no, it has to be dusk in the game. And dusk in the game is literally 2 minutes, Gus.
Gross.
But he did it. Yeah, it looks cool. It's all blue and shit.
Well, I fucked up. I was supposed to hit that electrode on the way through, and I didn't. So we get to go through that again. Yay!
Professor Oak's gonna start beating you.
He is.
I like the little slideshow you like the best.
I'm digging this one.
He's like getting up like, "Grr."
I'm a big fan. You know, I want this one.
It's a good one. You ever look back at like the moment you realize you're not kid strong anymore, you're adult strong, or like you're stronger than your peers?
Yeah, I've had a lot of those moments in my life, unfortunately.
Well, this daycare was crazy, by the way. Really weird place, but there was this kid, and I don't want to say anything like bad, but this kid was definitely like either ADHD or on the spectrum and unmedicated, because he was fucking batshit crazy. He'd go from like running around the room, like trying to make a hole in the floor from how much he's running, essentially, to like passed out, to throwing shit at people pissed, to really happy and giving away his toys and then getting in trouble when he doesn't come home with them.
You were close.
But he was in one of his moments like, I'm angry, like, fuck you, and throwing shit. Or we had steel folding chairs. He threw one. I remember I caught it and just dropped it all in one go with like no momentum being carried. Like it just stopped flat in my hands. And he looked terrified. I was like, oh, I guess I am stronger than the other kids.
Well done.
I've had the reverse moment where I'm like, I have to realize I'm not as strong as I once was. Like there was one point over the summer I had to call out of work because I like hurt my shoulder really badly. I mean, well, not like super badly. Like it was sore from work, and I like went to urgent care and everything. They're like, yeah, we're gonna put you on a muscle relaxer, and I'm like,
Wonderful.
a muscle relaxer, really?
You have my attention.
Welcome back.
I've never had that issue. I don't know if I have like a tiny version of the disease Andre the Giant had because I keep growing taller and I keep getting stronger. But there's only one time I even felt like smaller. There's a girl in my class who was a little taller than me for like a couple months. I'm like, oh, am I like done growing? And then I grew 1.5 feet taller.
Fucking Electabuzz, so doofy in this game.
Absolutely. I mean, you've seen some of my feats of strength before, I'm sure.
Oh yeah.
Such as just picking up a whole tree with one arm and carrying it like a fucking baby. I can say with confidence, I am the tallest member of the lodge.
Oh, absolutely.
The fact that like 6'6", 6'7", something like that. And I'm built like that Pikachu. Oh, does he have to fuck with the egg?
Yeah, I don't have the item to make him do it yet, though.
What is it? Just like mace? You just spray him in the face with mace
Well,
so he freaks out.
If you look at this, it's electricity, egg, and then a music note.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, play music.
Oh. What are you playing? Like some ska?
Yeah.
Nice.
It's more like Islander music, in all honesty.
If you had the power to remove one band from history in its entirety, what would it be?
Oh god, I don't know if I want that kind of power.
Like, it'll be one of those things, their music's gone. Either other bands made it, or it was just never made if it was something, like, personal that, like, that band member wrote and shit. Like, what would have the biggest cultural impact?
I don't even know, man.
I feel like, honestly, one of the biggest cultural impacts would be, like, just having Buddy Holly
Yeah.
never make music. Because then, there's almost the entire genre of metal gone instantly. And anything that's, like, past 50s rock.
Yeah, actually.
Like, that's also the Beatles gone, I'm pretty sure, too.
Yeah, well, John Lennon said that he based his idea of wearing, like, the super round glasses off of Buddy Holly's glasses.
But then, like, there could be funny ones, too. Like, what if you made it so Genesis never happened? Does that mean Phil Collins would have never happened? Which means the Tarzan soundtrack would have sucked?
And then what would have happened to the South Park movie soundtrack when it came time for
Oh, no.
awards?
True.
Matt Stone and Trey Parker are still pissed about that.
Are they?
Oh, yeah.
Why don't you tell the viewers that story?
Tarzan and the South Park movie came out the same year. Both nominated for, I don't know, some musical award, because they both had, like, slapping songs in them. And Phil Collins and Tarzan won, and Matt Stone and Trey Parker felt like they were Shafted. They made a whole episode based on it with like, he's like dancing around in South Park with his fucking award, and like, yeah, I don't know. It's not that interesting of a story. They're just butthurt about it.
I feel like they shouldn't be mad because Bill Collins, that's like probably his best work ever.
Oh, absolutely. I mean,
And like,
what
even
do
if
they
it
have?
wasn't attached to Disney, it probably would have won like all the music awards.
Right. I mean, what did the South Park movie really have that was like blame Canada and Kyle's mom's big fat bitch?
Definitely Kyle's mom's big fat bitch.
Yeah.
I had that song on my MP3 player.
Oh, I did too. Actually, no, I had Blame Canada on my MP3 player growing up.
I didn't. I thought it was too mean to Canada, I'm gonna be honest. I didn't watch South Park at the time. I just thought that song was really funny, and like some of my friends watched it.
Welcome back.
So I was like, sure, why not? You remember when shitty MP3 players were the worst thing like that it could happen to you?
They were all I had growing up, man.
Oh, me too. Like I got an iPod eventually, but like it was later.
I remember I found an iPod that had it was a third gen iPod Nano, and it had a broken screen, and I thought I was king. I basically made it a iPod shuffle. I thought I was king shit because of it. Senior year, I got my laptop and I got a iPod Touch, and that was the hotness.
I remember I had an MP3 player in high school. It was from Big Lots, so it was like $20, maybe $30. And like it played video. It was a pretty decent MP3 player, but the issue was is if it drained out a battery, when you turn it back on, it'd be in Chinese.
Oh.
Like the first time setting up, it was English, but for some reason, something happened to it. So anytime it had like a hard reset or a hard power cycle, it'd be in Chinese. And it got to the point where I memorized a tiny bit of Chinese to know what was what. And I remembered like the order so much so to go like down 5, up 2, like left 2, like that like sequence. Like its own little Konami code to get back to English.
Oh shit.
Or I'd get it back to German where I could just translate it. Oh, Mortis. Oh, you're dead. It sounded like they sneezed.
Fucking killed each other.
Allergies are brutal, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, throw those apples. Oh, that was a good one. You got it right in the goop.
I think I need the other item in order to get the Pokemon to pop out of there. This guy, though, dead.
Oh. Oh my god. You killed him, man. Remember when spin-off Pokemon games were good?
Right?
Like, I mean, this game,
This game was my jam as a child.
Pokemon Stadium.
Mm-hmm.
I guess Pokemon Coliseum, too. Pokemon Coliseum was good, just a little different.
Again, I skipped the GameCube generation, so I never got to play Coliseum or Gale of Darkness.
Great soundtrack. Ridiculously hard games.
I've heard.
Especially, Gale of Darkness, the one with Shadow Lugia.
Yeah.
That game bullies you.
Straight up.
So, like, to get new Pokemon, it's really weird, and, like, you can either beat so many of a trainer's Pokemon and get a chance at catching it, like RNG, or, like, certain boss Pokemon you always can try to catch, but their catch rate's super fucking low. And the game essentially is like, cool, you didn't get it in like 10 tries, you have to kill it now. Because they don't give you any Pokeballs.
Gross.
You know what's really gross?
What's that?
Next time on Pokemon Snap.
Next time, Pokemon Snap, you can find out how well we did in the volcano for the first time.
And we'll have something really gross just for you guys.
Yay!